Baby Emmanuel Haro failed. That's the headline you saw. But let's be clear, Emmanuel didn't fail. He couldn't fail. He was just a baby. The truth is, Emmanuel didn't receive the support he needed by his father, by his mother, and most concerning, by a system that once described his father as low risk. Why title this video He Failed? Because if we stop talking, if we go silent, then Emmanuel's story could be forgotten. Silence is what lets situations like this disappear, and when attention fades, mistakes can repeat. Back in 2018, after Jake Haro faced legal consequences for past parenting concerns, counselors described him as attentive, polite, and appropriately interactive. Another report went further, labeling him low risk for future issues. Those evaluations influenced decisions about supervision and restrictions. That outcome eventually allowed him to later become a parent again. And now, in 2025, officials describe Emmanuel's story as a serious failure in oversight. Before we continue, I want to ask, where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments. And don't just watch silently. Subscribe now. Following this story ensures it's remembered and discussed. On August 14, 2025, a 911 call prompted an immediate response in Riverside County, California. Jake and Rebecca Haro reported that their baby, Emmanuel, was missing from a shopping center parking lot. Police responded quickly. An Amber Alert was issued statewide. Emmanuel's picture appeared on news channels, billboards, and social media. Families across the area paid extra attention to their children. Community members joined in the search, bringing flashlights and hope. Flyers appeared on shop windows, street poles, and gas stations. Online, the hashtag #FindEmmanuel began trending within hours. But as detectives reviewed the case, they began noticing inconsistencies. Surveillance footage did not show any suspicious activity. Witnesses recalled no unusual events. As Jake and Rebecca repeated their account, timelines did not match and details were unclear. One officer later said, "Clearly, there was no external threat. Nothing outside the family indicated a missing child." What started as a community-wide search for a missing child was slowly shifting into a situation that required careful review and investigation.
8 days passed. The Amber Alert continued to circulate. Emmanuel's photo was still visible on streets and in the community, and people remained involved in the search. Behind the scenes, detectives were carefully reviewing reports and evidence. On August 22, 2025, the investigation reached a major turning point. Jake and Rebecca Haro were taken into custody. The charges drew widespread attention, including filing a false police report. In their first court appearance, both stood before the judge, following standard procedure, and pleaded not guilty. Prosecutors explained that the initial report of a missing child did not align with the evidence. The judge set bail at $1 million each. Both remain in custody, awaiting their next court date on September 16, 2025. The case drew public attention because the same individual once described as low risk was now facing serious legal scrutiny. Courtroom proceedings highlighted the careful review of prior events. Years earlier, in 2018, Jake Haro had faced legal consequences related to concerns about his previous parenting practices. During required educational programs, counselors described him as attentive, polite, and cooperative. One report indicated he was low risk for future concerns. Those assessments influenced earlier decisions regarding supervision. Officials now note that gaps in oversight contributed to the complexity of Emmanuel's situation. The case is not only about actions taken by his parents, it is also about how the system's procedures and decisions affected outcomes for a young child.
Following the arrests, a wave of concern and emotion emerged. Emmanuel's grandmother, who had already faced challenges in the past, spoke in court. She shared that back in 2018, after issues arose with Jake's parenting of his first child, she had raised concerns to the authorities. She requested additional oversight and accountability. However, her warnings were not acted upon, and probation was issued. Her testimony highlighted not just past difficulties, but how her efforts to seek help were not fully addressed.
The impact of that oversight became evident years later with Emmanuel, showing how important it is for systems to respond effectively to early concerns. As the case developed, more information came to light. Reports indicated that Jake had attended parenting programs, and professionals described him as attentive and cooperative. One counselor's assessment, labeling him low risk, influenced prior decisions about supervision. Additional details included the discovery of an unauthorized item in his possession, which officials reviewed as part of the case. Rebecca, Emmanuel's mother, also faced examination during proceedings. Authorities reviewed her role in decisions related to her child's well-being and communications about the reported incident. Together, the details painted a fuller picture. The situation involved multiple missed opportunities for oversight and review. Emmanuel's story highlights the importance of careful monitoring and timely action in protecting children when concerns arise.
As court proceedings continued, it became clear that earlier concerns had not been fully addressed. Officials noted that oversight gaps contributed to the challenges Emmanuel faced. Experts now highlight the difference between professional reports and real-world outcomes. How could previous assessments label someone low risk, even when questions about prior parenting were raised? How could probation be seen as sufficient when follow-up measures were limited? These questions remind us that Emmanuel's case isn't just about one family. It underscores the importance of timely and thorough action in all situations. This is where you come in. Emmanuel cannot share his story, but we can ensure it is remembered. By staying informed, sharing updates, and engaging with this content, we help keep attention on important lessons about oversight and child well-being. Every comment, share, and subscription helps maintain awareness. Now tell us in the comments, where are you watching from? Let's see Emmanuel's story heard from every city and country. I also want your thoughts. How should previous assessments influence current decisions? Do you believe systems can improve over time? What steps can help make sure similar situations are handled more effectively in the future? Your words matter. Your engagement matters. Together, we can ensure Emmanuel's story is remembered and that lessons are learned. So don't just watch, subscribe, comment, and share your location and thoughts. Let's keep this story alive and make sure it continues to spark awareness.